Hi Year 11s, sorry I'm in the car. I don't have much time today and I wanted to respond to your messages about language paper 2, which you have tomorrow. Non-fiction, it's all about the writer's point of view. So how, and the writer's perspective, how does the writer feel about the topic they're writing about? That's the focus now. So no longer stories and fiction that we were looking at in paper 1. It's now all about non-fiction, so newspaper articles, letters, autobiographies, and how the writer feels, what's their perspective on what they're writing about. Question 1, easy starter, 4 marks, don't spend more than 5 minutes on it. You're just spotting 4 things that are true from the text. So 2 will be explicitly true, obviously true, and 2 will be implied. So you may have to search a little bit harder to find them. Do just double check, and also check the ones that are false, because if you're not sure about the implied ones, then if you work out the 4 false, it will just help you work out the 4 true options. Question 2 is always a summary. So you're just being asked to summarize, to put things into your own words, to pull out the main points and put them into your own words. It's probably the only question in English that you don't have to analyze the language. You do use quotes, but the quotes are just to show that your summary is correct. So the thing about this is you're not being asked to summarize the whole text. You'll be asked on something specific. So first of all, annotate, underline the bits that are relevant in source A and the bits that are relevant in source B, and then put that into your own words and use quotes as you can. It's no more than 2 paragraphs. It's only 8 marks, so try and spend about 10 minutes on it. That should be enough. Question 3 is the language question. How does the writer use language to describe whatever the topic it is that they're talking about? Now, this is obviously like paper 1, question 2, how's the writer using language? Sorry about that, my car went off. How's the writer using language? But now it's hard because you could well have one that's just like paper 1. There could be lots of figurative language. There could be lots of metaphors and similes, and that's what you'll be analysing. But it could be more of a persuasive technique. So there might be more things like statistics, emotive language, direct address. So look at those persuasive techniques. And you just have to go with what's there in the text. It might be figurative like paper 1, but it might be more persuasive techniques depending on what the piece of non-fiction is. So you just have to engage with the text and work out what's there. Best to use your kind of point, evidence analysis sort of structure for this question to make sure you're really analysing the language, because that's where you're getting the marks from. Zoom in on certain words, talk about the devices that are there, that sort of thing. Question 4, this is different to paper 1. It's a comparison question. So you are going to have to read all of source A again, read all of source B, go through looking for your evidence. So you're comparing the writer's perspective. So how do they feel about what they're writing about? So first you need to work out what's going on in source A and source B and compare. Sometimes they ask for similarities, sometimes they ask for differences, sometimes they ask you just to compare. If they just ask you to compare, look for similarities and differences. The bit that you need to really make sure you are doing is comparing their methods as well. So the writer's methods, that just means how's the writer writing it to portray their methods. So as well as the language stuff that you normally look for, also look for tone. Are they using humour? Are they using very formal language? Is it authoritative? Is it light-hearted? Because that will help you get into analysing the methods. Okay, so the way I always do question 4, because it's 16 marks, you need about 4 paragraphs potentially for it. I just do a chart, source A, source B, and I go through like a fine-tooth comb each paragraph and work out how they're feeling here about the topic, and I make a note of it under my source A column, and I find my evidence and I comment on the method, and then I do the same for source B, and that's effectively your plan. Then you must plan question 4. It's too long to write it well without the plan. Question 5 is your writing task. You know, because you've been told that this year it is on writing an article. So, you know, have a heading, have a subheading. But mainly it's about engaging with the statement, deciding how you feel about the statement, whether you agree or whether you disagree. And I simply do a chart for that. List all the reasons that you could agree and list all the things you could disagree. So you'll have both, and it doesn't have to be the one you feel most strongly about necessarily. It's the one you can write the most about so convincingly. So see which one you've got the most points on and go for that. I also then in my plan work out what methods I'd use, because it's really important you're using persuasive devices here. So you do want the odd bit of statistic that you're going to have to make up, right? Because you can't research it. So you're going to have to make up a statistic that sounds credible. Use some expert opinion, some professor from Southampton University did some research and this is what he found, to back up your point. Use rhetorical questions. Sound like you're on a rant all the way through it, as though it's the most important thing in the world, even if really you don't really care too much about it. Write it as though you do. And don't try and have a considered argument in this. You're trying to persuade people that you are correct. So you are going to consider the other side of the argument, but only to give your argument more fuel, so that you've got more to argue against. Yeah, so you've got your points that you've already planned that you're going to argue for, and you've got your methods in there, and now start writing it up. And you've got 45 minutes. I'd probably plan for 10 minutes. I'd probably write for half an hour and give myself a good 5 minutes to go back through and check for errors. Okay, but as ever, for those first 4 questions, engage with the text, read it, understand it, make a decision on what it's about and what the writer's trying to achieve. Are they trying to persuade you of something? Are they trying to inform you? Are they trying to entertain you? That'll help you get into how to answer the questions. Good luck, you're nearly there. Keep going.